Tell me a little bit, Raymone, about Michael Jackson, the father, because, I mean, he had this relationship with his children that we only hear from certain people about how wonderful a dad he was. Of course, we never saw them, and we never got to see them interact. We never, saw their faces. Tell me about Michael, the dad. Was he a good father?
He was a wonderful father. He put his children before anything else. He would call me, and if Blanket wanted something, he'd say, Ramon, can you hold on? I've got to go to the refrigerator and get Blanket something. He was hands-on. He, in fact, when he was here in Washington for several months, there were people who'd want to meet with him or go out with him or have dinner with him. He always geared his schedule and always geared his agenda around the children. He called us saying, we're in Washington. I'd like for you to schedule for them to go to the various museums. I'd like for them to go to the zoo. I want to carry them to the Smithsonian. That's what Michael Jackson was about. And even when he moved back to the United States, and you saw him quite often around and about in Las Vegas, it was always around the children. He took them where they wanted to go, to the movie theater, to Circus, where they would get the little faces made up. He did whatever he could do to make their life enjoyable, educational. And those kids, they know foreign languages. They're exceedingly smart, but more important than anything else, the children are so unassuming. They are kind, they're giving, they're unassuming. And one of the things he wanted to instill in them, he would always say, is that despite of who I am and what I have achieved, I don't want them to take that for granted and let that go to their heads. I want them to be just like normal children. And I tell you, he has done a remarkable job. And Michael Jackson's legacy is not just going to be his music, but his children. And I think that he has planted the seed, and I think in the years to come, you will see his imprint on how well his children turn out to be and the success that they achieve.
Raymone, was it ever Michael's wish to share his children with other children? In other words, like there were play dates and interaction with other kids, or was it because of his fame and just not possible?
He allowed them to have play dates. There were always birthday parties. I remember one of the first meetings that I had with him, and he escorted me around Neverland Ranch. And it was coming to Christmas. And, I'd always thought that because he was a Jehovah's Witness, that he didn't celebrate birthdays or Christmases. But he had said to me there that I talked about the decoration and how pretty it was. And he says, well, I want my children to get an appreciation for the different holidays, because I don't want to dictate to them what they can and what they cannot do. As they grow older and they determine what religion or what faith they are wanting to practice, then that's a decision that they can make on their own. But right now, I think that as far as I'm concerned, I want them to share the joys of Christmas and Thanksgiving. He says, because I think that in the family sharing that, we'll get closer and they'll have an appreciation for the various seasons and the holidays. And he would say that to me all of the time. So he was not selfish with regards to the children interacting with other children and enjoying themselves and having their own agendas and their own mindset with regards to what it is they wanted to do. And I can't share enough with you how wonderful of a father Michael Jackson was. And that's probably, to me, going to be as big a legacy as his music.
I would agree with that. Raymone, thank you so much. I really appreciate catching up with you, and I look forward to seeing those kids, as years come. I think the media will respect. Michael went way out of his way to protect the children and to keep them shielded from the media. And I got a feeling that the media will respect that going forward, because I think it's sort of like a last thing that everybody should do for him. You know what I mean?
Well, I hope so, Billy, because I'm going to tell you something. Michael wasn't really concerned. He was concerned to some degree about what was written about him and what was said. But he was very resilient and strong. But one of the things he always said to me, Raymone, you can answer and respond any way you want, but I'm just going to tell you, there are two areas that I don't want you to discuss. That's my children and my finances. Let them speculate as much as they want to with regards to my finances, but I don't want you ever to respond with regards to my children. I want them left out of everything, and I am just hoping that throughout my life and theirs, my children are given their privacy. So those were the two areas of which I had been instructed throughout all of the years not to engage conversations about his children or his finances. And that's where Michael Jackson was with regards to the media coverage of him.